Mystic Flow is the final DVD of a 3-part series called The Yoga of Awakening. Ultimately, the Yoga of Awakening is a call to action. It's an invitation for all of us to wake up and to find our voice and to speak our truth and to be a part of a commitment to creating a world that is equal and happy and safe and free for all beings everywhere. If this is your first time to the Yoga of Awakening series and you're starting with Mystic Flow, it's amazing, it's great. You've chosen a powerful sequence that I hope will speak to your heart. But know, though, also that these programs have been progressive in that each of the programs prior have informed and brought information in that has led to this particular DVD. The Yoga of Awakening is comprised of body-mind flow, chakra flow, and of course, mystic flow. In body-mind flow, we learned very practical information about the practice of Vinyasa Flow Yoga, how to breathe correctly, how to organize the bones, the skeletal system in the most organized way so as to stretch and tone the muscles evenly, how to build a pose from the ground up so as to approach the practice safely and mindfully. It also introduced themes through the meditations and through the prayers about the nuances of the mind-body connection, helping us to understand where tension lives in the body and how that tension can often reveal itself through sensation and how to be present to that sensation. From there, we moved into chakra flow, and chakra flow took that mind-body connection to a whole other level, teaching us about the way in which our memories, our thoughts, our experiences have an influence on our cellular tissue. And that unless we are actively processing the experiences of our lives and moving the energy so as to discharge it, we can often hold on to that tension. That tension can make us reactive, sarcastic, judgmental, critical. In chakra flow, we learn about the chakra system, these vortices of electromagnetic energy throughout the body, the way that these vortices receive energy, and that if we're dealing with trauma or circumstances in our life, that these chakras can get blocked and as an effect can impact the way that prana gets distributed through our body. These two practices, body-mind flow and chakra flow, are both a physiological as well as a psychological purification or cleansing process that help us to become more empowered, building our self-confidence, and as a result, trusting our intuition. This leads us to mystic flow. Mystic flow is the now what? Now that I'm healthier, I'm happier, now that I have better tools for this awakening, what do I do with this energy? What do I do with this light? In these practices, we will use our bodies to pray. We will use our bodies, the way we move in and out of our poses, as an expression of our devotion and as a way to communicate with the God of our own understanding. In all of the practices in body-mind flow and in chakra flow, I have introduced prayer in every sequence that I've taught you. For me, yoga without prayer is calisthenic, and although you'll get a good workout, you might get stronger and more flexible, these practices can change your body. But with prayer, they can transform your outlook. And it allows the experience to be more holistic, body, mind, and spirit. In Mystic Flow, I offer 7 very specific practices and prayers. In the first 30-minute program, beginner practice, the prayer is about your relationship with God or with the mystery. It's an opportunity to feel that connection and to get curious about what is God for you, what is meaningful to you, what are some of the words or the languaging that you can play with to see how it lands within your own body, to embrace the mystery, and to move into a space of wonder, of awe, for all that cannot be explained, for all that we cannot know, but for all that we may feel when we open ourselves to the divine and to love. The second program is also 30 minutes, a slower flow, a more of a beginner practice. This prayer is about commitment. It's an intention to continue doing the deeper work on yourself, no matter how confrontive it may be, no matter how personal, no matter how challenging it is and can be to confront some of our limited beliefs. The prayer is for steadiness, mindfulness, as we continue to cultivate these tools for awakening, for awareness, honoring the practice and honoring the potential of what utilizing these tools can bring to us and the impact that it can have in changing our life. From here, we move into 4 very specific programs that move us to being more intermediate and advanced. Each of these programs builds onto the next. So you're going to see some familiarity in the programs, including the beginner program. You'll see poses there that will show up in a more advanced form later. So the first in our hour-long programs is an externally rotated sequence, moving the hips in a very specific way. But the prayer in which I'll be offering in this particular sequence is a dedication to Mother Earth herself. It's a true call to recognize the ways in which she has nourished and nurtured our body, mind, and our soul because of her resources, and a commitment that we will live more mindfully, more sustainably, more respectfully. It's to send the appreciation that we get to be a part of this creative experience, and to truly honor all the privileges that we have, this air, this food, the water. In the second program, the sequence is still external, but the poses become a little bit more complex, a little bit more challenging. The dedication here is we will offer every movement and every breath within our body to someone in our life, a parent, grandparent, child, someone alive, someone who has passed on, but someone whom we absolutely love, someone who has influenced our life, who has inspired us to make the choices that we have because of their own grace, and intelligence, and compassion. We will take the time to feel these beings within us and to let the energy, the appreciation, the gratitude move from our cells, from our fingertips, from our breath, and offer it to their souls wherever they may be in the world today. In the third of the hour-long programs, on a physical level, we shift and we move into poses that are internally rotated. The prayer here is an offering to someone in your life who needs healing, who might be challenged right now because of a physical illness or depression or PTSD, someone perhaps who's dealing with loss or grief or heartbreak. The intention is to activate the healing energy within our own body and offer that energy to them wherever they are in the world in this moment. But it's also a practice that reminds us to stay patient and accepting and to meet others where they are at. In the fourth of the hour-long practices, it's probably the most challenging of the prayers. This prayer is a prayer for forgiveness. It's a real invitation to call forth someone in your life that you hold a resentment towards because of the choices that they have made. I recognize for some of you who might still be in your own trauma around hurt or heartbreak or loss, that the idea of forgiving someone might be, right now, a little too accelerated. So I want to invite you to practice what's possible, to play with the words, to notice how it feels in your body, but to also give yourself space. That forgiveness takes time. So in the first 6 practices, there's a very specific arc, moving inward to outward. In the first, we are opening ourselves to spirit. In the second, we are setting our intentions and our commitment to the inner work. And then moving to the external, honoring Mother Earth, acknowledging those that we love, those who need healing, and those whom we need to forgive. All of these practices in Mystic Flow, all of the practices from Chakra Flow, Body Mind Flow, all of the sequences have been meant to influence and inform the other. All of the information has been a journey to influence our body, our understanding of the body-mind connection, to our understanding of the way in which we can work with spirit to be of service to the final practice. This sequence will put together both the internally rotated poses and the externally rotated poses. It'll introduce poses that are way more complex, that'll require focus, commitment, breath, a sense of humor. It'll require time. But the prayer in this particular sequence is a dedication to our brothers and sisters who live with us on this planet that do not have access to the resources that we have, do not have the privileges that many of us take for granted. This is an acknowledgement to those who suffer because of inequality and violence. And it is an opportunity for us to serve these beings, to honor their reality and their circumstance, to send all of the energy within our heart to them wherever they are in the world, in the name of peace, I invite you to practice with these prayers, to feel them in your body, to let them integrate, to see how these prayers land in your cells. But there's also a secondary track. This track is meant to give you the opportunity to offer your own prayers. I'll say just a couple of words just to lead the meditation, to lead the prayer. And then it'll be up to you to introduce what's important to you that day, what's moving you, what circumstance, what person, what event that's happening in the world that is touching your own soul. It'll give you space to find your own words and see how that feels in your practice, so that every day you can do a different prayer, so that you can experience all the 7 different practices in a way that that really filter through you. In the 7th practice, in the one that's more advanced, there's a secondary track to that one as well that's also way more independent. But what I'll be introducing there in the sun salutes is a very specific ritual, a very specific invitation. And in those sun salutes, I'll also be bringing a reminder to the prayers that I've already suggested. So the more advanced program has a little bit of a different secondary track than the first 6, but it's still meant to be more independent and to give you space to create for yourself a prayer that's important to you, that speaks to you that particular day. I practice yoga to release the tension so that I can remember who I am, so that I can count on myself in conflict, in any challenge or chaos, to remain in my center so as to make healthy, open, and loving choices. I know that if my yoga practice is off, if my prayer practice is off, if my meditation practice is off, that the tension in my body will come up and will influence the choices that I make. I practice yoga with these intentions so that I can serve, so that I can be of service to this planet, to mankind, in a way that does create peace. This is my invitation to you, to explore the yoga of awakening, to use your body to be of service, to empower yourselves so that you can go out into the world. Take everything that you've learned on the mat, strength, flexibility, focus, commitment, awareness. Take everything that you've learned in your heart, compassion, forgiveness, acceptance, love, and offer that energy to others. Be a part of this system of change. We're not here to seek, for to seek would suggest that that in which we're looking for lives somewhere out there. We are here to awaken, to remember, to come home to this essence, to create space for the light that's already within us. So we use our bodies to pray. We use our breath to align. We use our love to serve. And we use our intention to create a world that is united, whole, integrated, one.